So you have this kind of. I was in New York a while ago, and I was walking by a bank, and there was a sign in the window, and it said Hanukkah Club, Christmas Club, Hanukkah Club, savings plan, and it had two symbols there, two tree symbols. It had the Christmas tree, and it had a Hanukkah in the form of a menorah, like the Chabad Rambam menorah, the triangle. So one was a triangle going up, and the other was a triangle going down. Right? The Christmas tree is also a closed form. It's a closed form pointing upward, and the Chanukiah was an open-ended form. Right? It has the open-ended branches, kanim, and it points down. You see, and here's the different worldview between a Hellenistic and a Hebraic worldview, and I think that that we have this in Judaism. First of all, you have the multiple branches. You say Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba dracheha darkei noam v'kol netivoteha shalom. Right, the tefillah, from the Tanakh, and it's a translate.
Translate.
Everybody understand Hebrew?
No, translate.
Oh, Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim. It's a tree of life to those who grasp it. Dracheha darkei noam v'kol netivoteha shalom. All of its ways are pleasant, and all of its paths peaceful. Right? That's what it says. But it says paths and ways. It doesn't say path and way. It's in plural. Kol netivoteha, kol dracheha, in plural. It's paths and ways. It uses the tree metaphor, like the Chanukiah and the menorah is a tree form, but it's multiple paths. Judaism is about multiple paths. Often this represents the different tribes, the 12 tribes, stripes on the top. That you had multiple paths. The splitting of the Red Sea, they say. There wasn't one splitting. It split 12 places, one for each tribe to go across. And the Chanukiah is multiple branches at the Christmas tree. It's open-ended and it points down. In Judaism, the idea is to bring the spirituality down into the everyday world, rather than this aliyah, ascent, okay, to reach God. You don't go looking for God here. You look for God here, and so you have that kind of, and I think if we go back to Mitzrayim and getting out of Mitzrayim, which is Tsar to Rachav. If when you get out of into the desert, you have this automatic feeling of expanse, horizontal form, right? In Egypt, you were it's like in Petach Tikva. I go to Petach Tikva. I can only see across the street. I see the house across the street. I can't see very far. I have I can see vertical buildings. I don't see. But if I drive down to my son's house in Yerucham, and I drive down into the Negev mountains, it's open. The whole desert, it's automatic. When a Jew goes out of the city of Egypt, the major civilization of the time, when he gets out of the city into the open desert, he automatically gets out of Mitzrayim, the Tsar, to the wide open expanse. And it's interesting when you have the Meraglim, the spies that are sent to spy out Israel, the leaders of all of the tribes, and it says in the Torah that they should go into Israel from Nachal Sin LeRechov, right? That's what it says. That's the pshat in the Torah. It says and Nachal Sin. If you know, that's now in Sde Boker in the Negev. Nachal Sin is in I'll tell you a nice story with Yisrael Hevroni that we did in Nachal Sin. but Nachlatzin was the entry point to Eretz Israel, where it's now in stable care. The Koreans raised it, and it says l'rachov, resh het bet. Okay, so you read it rachav. That's rachov. Resh het bet is expanse. Wide expanse. It says go from Mitzrayim and then go into Eretz Israel. And what's your destination there? Wide expanse. 40 years later, when they send the spies in again, where do they go? To Isha Rachav. To this lady whose name was Rachav. Resh Chet Bet. You get the idea? You go into Eretz Israel, what do you have to find there? The expanse of the desert. But not in the desert, in the Yeshuv. How do you bring this expanse of the desert, this open-ended thing into the city? That's the challenge. It's not to stay in the desert. It's to go out of the desert into the city, but with the same mindset. And you know that the spies, when 10 of the spies came back and said, "Hey, let's not go there. It's the giants there. We're like grasshoppers. What do you want to go there for? Matter of fact, it's like going back to Egypt. It's no different. We're going to be slaves there. We're going to have to grow food. We're going to have to fight battles against the giants. We're going to have to, we're going to have to work and toil in building houses. Look at this. Stay in the desert. You got this non-stop kollel. You can study Torah day and night. This is pure spiritual experience. You get your food delivered to the door every morning, the man. You can get you get everything. Here's the pure spirituality. What, I'm going to give up the spirituality of the desert, and I'm going to go and have to grow food and have to fight wars and have to collect garbage and all. I mean, don't go there. Stay here. That was their report. Stay in the desert. And what was Hashem's response? Well, die there. Onesh Mavet, the death penalty in the Torah is for wanting to have a kollel in the desert, to live a spiritual life, a total spiritual life. That was abhorred. The death sentence was announced on that. There were two of the spies who had another attitude, right? There was Yehoshua and Caleb. It says about Yehoshua. Well, Yehoshua was Moshe's disciple. He was Yeled Tov. He was a good guy. Moshe Rabbeinu said we should have to go into Eretz Israel, and he said we have to go into Eretz Israel. Hashem wants us to, so we have to do that, no question. But it says in the Torah, Pshat, it says that the Caleb haya ruach acheret. Only on Caleb it said he had a different spirit. Haya lo ruach acheret. He had a different spirit. Only about Caleb. Caleb could see in everything that they saw negatively in the Yeshuv, he saw positively. Like Midrash says, when all of the people said, we can't go there, we're like grasshoppers. You see these big giants there, we can't fight these guys, what do you know? And Caleb came back, he said, oh, you should see, big giants there, what great food they have here, our children will grow great, big and strong, what a great, terrific place. Everything that they saw negatively, he saw the same thing, but he had a ruach acheret. He could see that in a positive way. And so the idea is of Judaism is to be able to see in this spiritual way the everyday life in everyday life, not separated from down into the everyday world, not the elevation, and into some pure spiritual realm. And spirituality is how you encounter the everyday life.